Should we expect to see some growing pains early on for Aaron Rodgers in this Jets offense?
Keep coming back to Tom Brady when he went to the Bucs. That, to me, is the precedent that we have. And one interesting aspect of that was Bruce Arians, when Tom Brady got down there, essentially said to him, hey, we could either teach all of these other guys your language and football language, or we could teach you theirs. And since you're one of the smartest players in the world, let's just make you learn it. In New York, it's a very different deal because Aaron Rodgers has Nathaniel Hackett as his offensive coordinator. They're coming in with their system. So the good news for them is there's not that much of a learning curve for them, but there is for the rest of the team. So the question here becomes training camp. How much can they install? How much can they get these guys to wrap their heads around Aaron Rodgers and Hackett's system before the start of the season? That will dictate the growing pains that this team has.
Yeah, Woody, I feel like I'm living 2022 all over again because isn't that kind of what happened with the Packers last year? Aaron Rodgers has his way. The other guys are trying to catch on. Should we expect some growing pains here in trying to do that?
Yeah, Ron, I think the difference is Aaron Rodgers was there all offseason. I always say that championships are made, in the offseason, but Aaron Rodgers was there through all of OTAs. And they eventually canceled that minicamp, but he's been there all offseason. And that was really the problem last year with the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers wasn't there with those rookie receivers, and it took a while for those guys to get adjusted. That's not going to be the case this time around with the Jets. And, really that was a question that a lot of people had. Well, when the Jets traded for Aaron Rodgers, would Aaron Rodgers be all the way in, be vested, particularly as it relates to the offseason? And he was, and he has been. And there's been nothing but glowing reports as it relates to, what Aaron Rodgers has been teaching those guys and all the little nuances of the passing game to all the skill guys out there for the Jets.
All right. Okay. So, Bill, I look at that 6-game lineup. I don't know who has a worse first 6 games, but this is a team that wants to go to the Super Bowl. Yep. What do they need to start in those first 6 games to make it to the Super Bowl, to be a Super Bowl caliber team?
It's tough to project them to have a winning record in those first 6 games. But if they can get to 3-3, I think that's the bar, because there has never been a team over their first 6 games that posted a losing record that went on to win the Super Bowl that season. Now, 3-3 might be enough, because the last time a team started 3-3 and went to the Super Bowl was Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers back in 2010. So we know he can do it, but can the Jets do it if they start 3-3 against that brutal schedule to begin the season? We'll have to wait and see.
There's precedent 13 years ago.
It's possible.
Yeah, who knows? Anything's possible. Woody, you know what's also possible, actually probable and going to happen? They're going to be on Hard Knocks. You were on Hard Knocks, and you got to tell me, how will that affect the Jets this training camp? How did it affect you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, listen, I think we fully embraced it. That was one thing. We had a lot of juicy storylines. Obviously, Darrelle Revis hold out, and obviously Rex Ryan being a prime character in that. But Rex came into this thing saying, "Listen, guys, it is what it is. Let's embrace it. Let's have fun with it." And then one of the underrated things when you have a lot of cameras around, guys don't want to be embarrassed. And I mean players. Players do not want to be embarrassed. They want to put their best foot forward as relates to the national audience. So that's where I think the cameras are Hard Knocks, and having that platform I think it's going to actually elevate guys, on the team, because they want to show themselves in their best light in front of the national media.
Wow, I like that. See, I thought that would make them more tense, more tight, but it's interesting that they're going to raise their game. And we're going to get to see it all, which I cannot wait for. Caesars has the Jets with the 7th shortest odds to win the Super Bowl. Gang Green coming off a 7-win season, last place finish in their division.
Dallas.
The 6 teams with shorter title odds all won at least 12 games last season, including the Cowboys. They are really optimistic on this team and Aaron Rodgers in Vegas. Bill, which team has a better chance to make the Super Bowl? And I'll put it to you like this. Jets or Cowboys?
Ooh, I got to pick one of those teams. I'll go Cowboys, because I think...
You want neither, but you have to pick somebody?
I want neither is the correct answer. I'll go Cowboys because I look at the competition around those two teams, right? Jets are in maybe the toughest division in all of football. And that conference, the top of that conference, Chiefs, Bengals, Chargers, Ravens, Bills, so many scary teams to compete with. Cowboys, well, if the Eagles take a step backwards, that might open up the door for the Cowboys to be the best team in the NFC. So to me, I just think the competition is so much tougher in the AFC. I lean towards the Cowboys.
Okay, Jeff.
Yeah, I'm with Bill here. This is just trying to justify a bad answer. I'm gonna say the Jets, okay? Fine, whatever. But my reason, actually, the funny thing is, I was thinking about it. My reason is that Aaron Rodgers is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and as such, he's the most likely to get back. But I was just thinking about who the coach was of that Super Bowl winning team that Aaron Rodgers was on, and it happens to be one Mike McCarthy, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. So you could really make a case either way. Either case is going to be bad because neither team is going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Woody, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys because I'm going with the path of least resistance. You know, just the two conferences are like night and day. Yeah. It's a murderer's row in the AFC with all those teams. And when you look at the Cowboys, I mean, we keep talking about, you know, basically like a couple teams in that conference. You know, the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. Although I will say I think Seattle is going to be better than a lot of people think. But, you know, it's just there's more dogs in the AFC than in the NFC.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I hate this question as an Eagles fan. I answer this under protest, but let me just say, I'll say, how about, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. Do not say, how about anybody on this show. I will say the Cowboys, though, because we're talking about the Jets. They're giving Kimberly Martin PTSD over their history. I just am not buying this team. Yeah, exactly. I'm just not buying this team yet. I hope it works out well. I'm excited to see what happens. I'm just not buying better chance than the Cowboys. Is Mahomes' legacy now dependent on how many Super Bowl rings he wins?
I don't know that I would necessarily place that kind of pressure. He's already a Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's already honestly won more Super Bowls than, say, Aaron Rodgers. But I have talked to Patrick Mahomes about this, and he is willing to put that pressure on himself. So he says he understands legacy. He appreciates the importance of legacy. And I think that when he looks back on his career, he's told me he wants to be viewed, obviously he wants to be judged on his rings, but he also wants to be viewed for the way he's done it. And so far he's done it in a way that deserves all of our respect. I mean, he's talking on the field, off the field. So I think his legacy is so much more than rings. And so far he's living up to all of that.
Yeah, it's like he always needs something else to put on himself to challenge himself, kind of that Michael Jordan gene. Woody, how many Super Bowl rings do you think Mahomes could win?
Man, it's like I think he could get to Brady's level. I think that could happen. Wow. The chance of it happening, I don't know if he can. I don't know if it will happen. But I mean, listen, we're talking about the best quarterback in the game right now, paired with the best offensive mind in Andy Reid. Like, that's not going anywhere. Patrick Mahomes is what, 28 years old? Look at the runway that Patrick Mahomes has as it relates to the rest of his career. And so when you're playing in when you're playing with a great organization, great head coach, you're a supreme talent. Jeff already alluded to, if he steps away from the game right now, he's already a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. He's already in the elite room in Canton. And you mean to tell me with a guy that could have a decade-plus runway, like, he could do it. I'm not putting anything past Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
I think it's incredible that you say it that way, because when we first started talking about this morning, I thought there is no chance. But when you think about what you just described, Bill, I want to ask you about this. He's got a similar setup to what Brady had with Belichick. That runway, all that time, the time together. Damien's mentioning the defense is getting even better. What do you think?
I have a rule where if we set the bar at Tom Brady, it's a bad comparison. It's tough because so many things have to go right. Tom Brady played until he was 44 years old. He had Belichick his entire career. He had great players around him. So much has to go right to win that many Super Bowls. And like, if Patrick Mahomes wins 4 or 5 Super Bowls and he's just Joe Montana, like, that's still incredible. The Brady bar is so high.
I almost feel bad, Jeff, having this discussion, because if he does win 4 or 5 Super Bowls, we're going to say, can he win 7, or will it just be 5? Jeff, what do you think about all this?
I think it's almost, I won't do it just because it's, I think, disrespectful to what Tom Brady has done. And I think Patrick Mahomes would say the same thing at this point. Yes, he is internally chasing it. Like, he will say that out loud, that he wants to get 7 Super Bowls. But at the same time, I don't want to say it's the LeBron Jordan debate because, God, please, let's not ever go down that road with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, even though it's probably inevitable someday. But I just think that what Tom Brady has done deserves the statue, the respect, all of it. And Patrick Mahomes can continue to define his legacy on his own right.
Okay, I just want to promise everybody, it probably will get there. We probably will go there. Just remember that when it happens 5 years from now. All right. Now let's talk about MVPs because this dude just runs that category too. And at Caesars, you could play a prop of Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen to win MVP versus the field. The plus 190 odds imply that there's a 35% chance that one of those big three dudes is going to take home the award. Woody, would you take the top three quarterbacks in MVP odds, Allen, Mahomes, or Burrow, to win it?
Yes, I would. Yes.
Wow.
I mean, listen, we're talking like those three guys are, in my opinion, probably, the best quarterbacks that we have in our league. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has been dominant. We see the rivalry that's happening between him and Joe Burrow, and it almost seems like people are sleeping on Josh Allen, who's just been tremendous. So you combine those three players, if I had, I would slap some money on those three guys over the field. Absolutely.
Okay, Bill?
Slap some money.
I'm going to go with the field because I think every year we've seen a quarterback unexpectedly rise out from not being in that top three to be a serious contender, if not a winner outright. Last year, of course, the classic example was Jalen Hurts, where I think if Jalen Hurts does not get injured in December, he might win MVP when things were all said and done. It was certainly, a very viable candidate, even missing a couple of games a year ago. Before him, it was guys like Patrick Mahomes in his first year as a starter. Lamar Jackson won MVP. Carson Wentz nearly won MVP if he hadn't been injured in his second season. So pick your young quarterback of choice who's not in that top three. Those guys are going to be viable candidates to me. Even though those guys are incredible, I'll take the field.
Jeff, what do you think? Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, or the field?
I mean, I get it. The field is always like the smart bet, but we just had a conversation about whether Patrick Mahomes can get 7 Super Bowls. Okay, it's the top. You can have Josh Allen and Joe Burrow. I'm taking Patrick Mahomes against the field, and I will do so for the next 10 years. Just put me down right now in pen, preseason MVP Patrick Mahomes until the year 2030.
Here's the one thing you're forgetting, my friend, and this is why I take the field. I take the field because we got to say Jalen Hurts. And I'll double down on what you said. Had he not gotten hurt, he would have won the MVP, and we would be having a totally different discussion. And by the way, all this Super Bowl talk.
Gotten hurt?
Yeah, had he not gotten hurt? I mean, he was leading the race. He was leading the race.
Hurt.
Yes, but had he not gotten hurt, he would have won it. So how can we not think that he has a great chance this year? And by the way, all that Super Bowl talk, the Eagles got to get one, guys. They got to get one. Mahomes can't have them all. Please, everybody, step off of that for a second. And why is everybody smirking?
Patrick Mahomes got hurt too, and he still won it.
Okay, I don't want to hear about that. Let's move on to the talk, the bump. Would DeAndre Hopkins make the Bills the favorites in the AFC?
Oh, wow.
No. I mean, it would just listen. It would just keep the Bills where they are. They're one of the top teams in the AFC, but it wouldn't catapult them to the top of the heat. Listen. Wasn't Stephon Diggs like crying about targets like the second half of the season? Now you added DeAndre Hopkins. It's like, wouldn't that actually stir the pot even more as far as what's going on in Buffalo? Listen, DeAndre Hopkins is a really good player, but I wouldn't say adding him would just automatically catapult them to the top of the AFC.
See, I look at that. I find that interesting because I look at it like you got him, you got Diggs, you got Davis, and maybe that makes Diggs and others say, look, this is going to be all about winning right now. We're going to be great. What do you think, Bill?
I agree with Damien. I look at that second half of last year when Diggs was complaining, they were 13-3. It wasn't like they were a bad football team last year, and he still wanted the football more. And I don't fault him. He's a great player, and the Bills are better when they got the ball to Stephon Diggs. But I wonder, by adding Damien Hopkins, a fit that makes sense in terms of talent, maybe you upset the chemistry in the locker room by having your best player on offense right now, and Stephon Diggs, your best receiver on offense at least, be a little more upset in the process.
Ah, but it's so tantalizing. I'd love to see it happen.
Not gonna happen.
I'm a little not gonna happen, says Jeff.
Sorry,
all
man.
right, so you're not buying it. All right, so
This is not gonna happen.
Let's talk about the AFC East because you got a gauntlet there for quarterbacks. Jeff, when I think about Josh Allen, what he's going through, I think about all the quarterbacks that have a lot at stake in that division. Which AFC East quarterback has the most at stake for you this season?
Honestly, Ryan, all of them for different reasons. And it's true. Like whether it's Tua, Mac Jones, like these guys all have reasons to have a ton of pressure. But the most pressure in my eyes is Aaron Rodgers because of the legacy, because of what's on the line from a historical perspective. Those other guys are fighting for their careers in terms of trying to stay essentially the starters in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers is a different beast. I'm not talking about Josh Allen there, by the way. He will get to where Rodgers is at now. But Rodgers is trying to solidify his legacy. We talked about Patrick Mahomes in his Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers only has one. And yes, he's got one. But to be a Hall of Fame quarterback and to be remembered as one of the greats, it seems like perhaps he should have more.
Bill, what do you think? It's
Tua Tagovailoa, and this is the 9-figure rule to me. If Tua Tagovailoa plays well this year, he's going to get $120 million in guaranteed money next year. If he gets hurt, doesn't play well, his fifth-year option, about $21 million.
Oh my goodness.
When you have $100 million riding on the season, you have the most riding on
that's
it.
fair, Bill.
Goodness, that's huge. All right, D. Wood, what do you think?
Yeah, Bill brings up a great point, man. I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers simply because of time. I think time is not Aaron Rodgers' best friend right now. We know about his legacy. Jeff already talked about it. It's time, and it's Aaron Rodgers for me.
See, I think it's Josh Allen. I think not only because they got to get over the hump in Buffalo, but because I think some of the Diggs problems are because Diggs is like, look, you get it more to me, we will win. And that's part of what Josh Allen's going to have to try to find a way to deal with this year. And we'll see where all that goes. All right.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.